Gopijana Balava Girivaradhari Gopijana Balava Girivaradhari Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhari Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhari Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Bhrivakaracharya Saraswati Srimad His Divine Grace Sri Lesa Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Bhrivakaracharya Saraswati Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Srila Gokishodas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai Sri Guru Parampara Ki Jai Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Sadhu Sangha Ki Jai, Go Premananda Hari Hari Bol. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So all together please. Om Jnana Timirandasya Ganandana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yukta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sarvadutam Prijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pradam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karana Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapcha Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishavana Sudadevi Pranamami Priye Panchakalpa Dhrubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, translation and commentary Srila Prabhupada. Today is second chapter, contents of Gita summarized, verse number 48. Yeah. Yes. So, we'll start straight away then. Please repeat. Yoga-sthaḥ, karmāṇi, kuru karmāṇi, saṅgam, tyaktvā, dhanañ-jaya, siddhi-asiddhyoḥ, samo bhūtvā, samatvam, yoga ucyate, yoga-sthaḥ kuru karmāṇi, saṅgam tyaktvā dhanañ-jaya, siddhi-asiddhyoḥ bhūtvā, samatvam yoga ucyate, yoga-sthaḥ kuru karmāṇi, saṅgam tyaktvā dhanañ-jaya, siddhi-asiddhyoḥ bhūtvā, samatvam yoga ucyate, yoga-sthaḥ kuru karmāṇi, saṅgam tyaktvā dhanañ-jaya, siddhi-asiddhyoḥ bhūtvā, samatvam yoga ucyate,
yoga-sthaḥ kuru karmāṇi, saṅgam tyaktvā dhanam-jaya, siddhi-asiddhyoḥ samatvam yoga ucyate. Yoga-sthaḥ kuru karmāṇi, saṅgam tyaktvā dhanam-jaya, siddhi-asiddhyoḥ bhūtvā, samatvam yoga ucyate.
Yoga-sthaḥ kuru karmāṇi,
saṅgam tyaktvā dhanam-jaya, siddhi-asiddhyoḥ bhūtvā, samatvam yoga ucyate. Okay, word for word. Please repeat. Yoga-sthaḥ.
yoga-sthaḥ,
Equipoised.
equipoised,
Kuru.
kuru,
Perform.
perform,
Karmāṇi. Your duties. Saṅgam. Attachment. Tyaktvā. Giving up. Dhanam-jaya. O Arjuna. Siddhi-asiddhyoḥ. In success and failure. Samaḥ. Equipoised. Bhūtvā. Becoming. Samatvam. Equanimity. Yogaḥ. Yoga. Ucyate is called. So, translation, Srila Prabhupada. Perform your duty equipoised, O Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. Such equanimity is called yoga. Please repeat. Perform your duty equipoised, O Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. Such equanimity is called yoga. Purport Srila Prabhupada. Kṛṣṇa tells Arjuna that he should act in yoga. And what is that yoga? Yoga means to concentrate the mind upon the Supreme by controlling the ever-disturbing senses. And who is the Supreme? The Supreme is the Lord. And because he himself is telling Arjuna to fight, Arjuna has nothing to do with the results of the fight. Gain or victory are Kṛṣṇa's concern. Arjuna is simply advised to act according to the dictation of Kṛṣṇa. The following of Kṛṣṇa's dictation is real yoga, and this is practiced in the process called Kṛṣṇa consciousness. By Kṛṣṇa consciousness only can one give up the sense of proprietorship. One has to become the servant of Kṛṣṇa or the servant of Kṛṣṇa. That is the right way to discharge duty in Kṛṣṇa consciousness, which alone can help one to act in yoga. Arjuna is a Kshatriya, and as such, he is participating in the Varnashram Dharma institution. It is said in the Vishnu Puran that in the Varnashram Dharma, the whole aim is to satisfy Vishnu. No one should satisfy himself, as is the rule in the material world, but one should satisfy Kṛṣṇa. So unless one satisfies Kṛṣṇa, one cannot correctly observe the principles of Varnashram Dharma. Indirectly, Arjuna was advised to act as Kṛṣṇa told him. Mukam karochi vachalam pangam naite girim yad kripa tamaham bande Shri Guru Dinatarinam yoga-sthaḥ kuru karmāṇi saṅgam tyaktvā dhanañ-jaya siddhi-asiddhyoḥ samo bhūtvā samatvam yoga ucyate. Perform your duty equipoised, O Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. Such equanimity is called yoga. Yes. So Prabhupada's first few sentences are wonderful, aren't they? You can see how Prabhupada always goes straight to the point. Kṛṣṇa tells Arjuna he should act in yoga. I mean, this is a simple point, but it's the key point. And what is that yoga? Okay, act in yoga. So what is yoga? Yoga means to concentrate the mind upon the Supreme by controlling the ever-disturbing senses. Yes. That is the problem. Manashastra indriyani prakriti-sthani kāshati. Yes, we are the answer of Kṛṣṇa. We've discussed this in previous work. That we are the answer of Kṛṣṇa. Just imagine. Sava upadi vinir muktam. We're nothing to do with this material body and material mind and nescience and fruitive desire. We are answer of Kṛṣṇa. And Kṛṣṇa is the absolute truth. But we're not identifying with Kṛṣṇa. We're identifying with the external mind and body. So that's a big problem. Instead of identifying, just imagine, if you identify properly as answer of Kṛṣṇa, you realize, I am the absolute truth. Part and parcel of the absolute truth. That is an amazing thing, is it not? I'm not the local Admi from Lucknow or Delhi or South America or Timbuktu. I am the absolute truth, part and parcel, angsa of the absolute truth. So that should be our consciousness, right? Because we act from our sense of identity, right? We act from who we think we are. If we think we're the body, aham mameti, I am this body, and then things related to this body, they're mine to exploit and enjoy. Aham bhogi, aham ishvaro. Because I identify with the external body and I become upset. As Prabhupada says, ever disturbing senses, shastra, indriya, prakriti, sthani, nescience. So that is Arjuna at the beginning, right? Oh Krishna, I can't fight, I'll have to kill, and then I'll get bad karma, and this will happen, this and that. So that is the confusion. And nobody in the material world is satisfied. Arjuna was very unhappy. He was coming to a crunch. It's okay when the sun is shining, but when you're on the battlefield, then that is the test. How Krishna conscious you are, how spiritual you are, who is your identity. So, that is the first point of Buddhism, right? They have 4 noble truths. The first one is, there is suffering. Sanatana Goswami, Kayami, who am I, Lord Chaitanya? I don't know. People say I'm a pandit, but I don't know. And why am I suffering? So Sanatana Goswami, very advanced at that point, he understands I'm suffering. But the material people in the material world, materially conditioned, they are thinking, I'm a little uncomfortable, but things will get better by my plan. I have a very good plan, and I have life insurance, and I have a nice wife, and my children love me, and I've got a good job, and my bard appreciates me. But then the wife divorces you, the children steal your money, and you die on the side of the street. So these things do happen. The sun doesn't always shine. Sometimes the darkness comes in life, according to karma. Prabhupada makes this point many times, that you don't have to really plan very much to enjoy, because what you're destined will come. Nobody planning for suffering, but suffering comes. Right? It comes automatic. Karma phal. Of course, in yoga philosophy, in bhakti yoga, we say, yene rivinda. Okay, these things are happening, but still I worship Krishna. I accept this. This is the karma. Krishna is giving me a touch from the past. So I undergo this, but I remain yoga-sthaḥ. Right? Yoga-sthaḥ kuru karmāṇi. I will do things in the basis of yoga. Later on, Krishna says to Arjuna, "O Arjuna, armed with yoga, with knowledge, stand and fight." He doesn't say stand and fight. He said armed with yoga, stand and fight. So yoga starts from this concept that I am angsa of Krishna. My identity is Krishna. Therefore, I am part of Krishna. I am not param tattvā, but I am angsa of param tattvā. I am not the param Brahman. I am a particle of Brahman, the Supreme. And I am the dependent particle of the Supreme. I am not the absolute Supreme. Absolute, if you look in the dictionary, you'll see independent, completely unconditioned by any circumstance. But we are conditioned. And the suffering of this world, often the atheistic people say, oh, there is suffering, so there's no God. This is not very logical, because you can answer that very easily. You say, well, maybe there is God, but he likes you to suffer. Maybe he's an evil God, and he's created everyone so he can make them suffer. So there's no logical in that. But poor fund of knowledge. They have no knowledge. We are suffering, like we say, the fruit of previous activities. So of course Arjuna is not in this perplexed condition because of previous path. This is yoga-maya, so we should always remember that these great devotees, they are put in yoga-maya so that they ask these questions. Same thing with Lavanga Manjari, Sanatana Goswami. He's asking these questions to bring out these discourses. And when we study these discourses, then, at least myself, conditioned soul, we become enlightened. And we think, yoga-sthaḥ kuru karmāṇi. I should do it. And so I should start with the idea, I am Angsa of the Supreme. And then I can be equipoised, because I realize I'm part of the Absolute Truth. I'm eternal. I'm Sat, Chit. I'm conscious. I'm aware. I have a sense of bliss. But it's being assailed by the material energy. Manashastra Prakriti, it's pulling and pushing. How to overcome that? By yoga. And that's what Krishna's main point here is. That he's telling Arjuna, I think it starts verse 38. He's telling Arjuna, you've got to fight. Don't be running from the battlefield. Everyone will laugh at you for centuries. Oh, Arjuna, he was such a big, tough guy, but when it came to the crunch, he ran away. So then, what could be worse than that? You're a big Kshatriya. What about your nobility? What about your truth? What about your self-esteem? And for centuries, your family will be laughed at because you ran away. So these are material examples. They're pushing Arjuna to fight. But they're reasonable because Arjuna is in that mode. He's, for our education, he's in that confused state. So sometimes a bit of psychology is good, right? You can't just say to a drunkard, be equipoised. What do you mean, be equipoised? I'm out of my head. So Krishna is giving pertinent instructions, but then he comes to the point. Yes, here it is. So this is the point. Just like Krishna, he says, Sarvadharma Prijajya. That's an order. Why? Krishna has the right to give the order because he is Param Brahman. He is Param Purusha. He is Lila Purusha. He is the big Brahman. He is the unconditioned Brahman. We are the dependent Brahman. And we're suffering. Why? The atheists say, oh, there's suffering, so there's no God. But actually suffering is good. How is suffering good? Because it teaches us we're not Supreme Brahman. It teaches us we're subordinate. This is the big point. When I have a toothache, I have to deal with it. I can't just imagine it away. Oh, I am Brahman. It doesn't impinge upon my bliss. No, I am subordinate, and the material energy is saying that to me. You have to eat properly, you have to sleep properly, you have to act properly, or things will get even worse. You are subordinate. But the atheist doesn't want to do that. So it doesn't matter. Asuram bhavam ashrita. They rebel. They have a mood of rebellion against the Supreme. Asura bhavam asritam. So that is the root of atheism. Just like you go to, I think we gave the example many times, you go to an art gallery and you think, what a beautiful painting. And then you say, I wonder who the painter is. And your friend says, there is no painter. It happened by chance. What does that mean? He's envious. Obviously there's a painting, there's a painter. Oh, like, come in my motor car. Oh, you have a nice motor car. Who is the maker of the motor car? There is no maker. This motor car was created by chance. Oh, let's go for a meal. Oh, nice restaurant, delicious. Matar paneer, very delicious. I wonder who the cook is. There is no cook. It happened by chance in the kitchen this morning. They put the ingredients, there was a big bang, and suddenly matar paneer was with biryani was there. And there's no cook. It happened by chance. So why is this? You're a madman. You're a madman. My motor car self-assembled. Oh yes, it happens. You were once a monkey. No, you were once. You're still a monkey. So this is the atheist. But the reasonable person with a little knowledge will think, yes, this is a difficult world. There is suffering. So how to get out of it? I am dependent. Yes, Kṛṣṇa says, you are eternal, but now you're in this temporary world. And you're suffering because you're not taking shelter of Supreme, Lila Purushottam. You're taking shelter of your own desires and independence. You're trying to be independent, but you're not the Supreme Independent. You're the dependent part. But, Gopijana Balabhaya, Kṛṣṇa is the beloved of the gopis, and the gopis are beloved of Kṛṣṇa. So when the dependent Brahman or Param Tattva or Angsha, when he develops his natural devotion, then he captures the heart of Kṛṣṇa. And Kṛṣṇa becomes his servant through devotion. And this is what we see in the Leela, that Kṛṣṇa is serving his devotees and the devotees are serving Kṛṣṇa. But this conception of unselfish, loving service in the realized condition of Goloka and even Haridam in different moods, that is hard to grasp for the materialist, because they're always acting on this idea, what's best for me, what suits me. And they're accepting and rejecting on the basis of what they calculate to be suitable for them. And then they spend many lifetimes going around adjusting philosophy. And as it says in the Vishnu Puran, Padma Puran, I think. I've quoted this verse last year, but it's very educational. Yes. Ishupanishad, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Here it is, Vishnu Puran, not Padma. Vishnu Shakti Para Prokta, Kshetra Gyakya Tata Para, Avidya Karma Samgyana, Tritiya Sakti Ishite. The internal potency of the Supreme Lord is spiritual, as verified by the Shastra. There is another spiritual potency known as Kshetragya, or the living entity. The third potency, which is known as Nescience. So three basic divisions: Nescience, Maya Shakti, Jiva Shakti, and the internal potency. The third potency, when the living entity rejects the shelter of Supreme Brahman, Supreme Person, he becomes under the third potency. And what does it do? Which fills him full of nescience. Nescience means not scientific, confusion. He adopts this philosophy, that philosophy, globalism, socialism, fascism, atheism, nihilism. These are the solutions. I heard it from my professor. It was on the news today that if we all have globalism, we'll be all happy. The third potency makes the living entity godless. That's the second one, you see that? Fills him full of nescient ideas, different political or idealistic philosophies. Then it makes him godless because it is by nature secondary to the Supreme Lord. It has the quality of tama. It makes the living entity forgetful of God. The material nature, by its very quality, makes you forget that there is a Supreme. Why? Because it is inferior to you. You are answer of the Supreme. So you look at the material nature and you think, I'm better than that mountain. I'm better than the seaside. I'm better than the wood. I'm better than the sand. I'm the superior. Therefore, the devotional mood towards the Supreme Person is countered. It becomes hard to evoke. Because you're thinking, I'm superior to this piece of granite. I'm superior to this microphone. It's not talking to me, I'm talking to it. I'm the boss. So the material energy has that effect. The pradhan is emanated from Mahavishnu, who is in yoga nidra. And he's in the dream, he's enjoying dream-like state, yoga nidra. So he is emanating, the pradhan is a secondary form of the chit shakti. And what is the difference between that chit shakti and the supreme chit shakti in Goloka, for example? It is because he's emanating this pradhan in a state of tama. Just like when we sleep, what happens? We forget who we are. And we think, I just scored the winning goal at the World Cup. Oh no, I've got to take a shower. We wake up, we find but we forget ourselves. So this is the Mahavishnu, he's in yoga nidra, and he's dreaming the material energy into existence. He's dreaming the pradhan. So you'll read in the Brahma Samhita, it has the admixture of tama, forgetfulness in it. So the pradhan creates all the varieties, earth, water, fire, but they all carry this element of forgetfulness of the Supreme Self. It is a special subtlety. So we can contemplate that. So therefore, when we try to enjoy it, we go to it, we try to enjoy something that makes us forget, godless. And then the third thing is, and fills him with fruitive activity. So those are the three effects of the material energy. You start to think, I'll work like a donkey. I'll become a muta. And then I'll get money and then I'll enjoy. Or a naradama. You start to think, hedonism. I won't discipline my senses. I'll just do anything. Drugs, wine, sex, women, stealing, thieving, rumor mongering. The main thing is to enjoy. So then you become naradama. And then maya aprita gyan. I'm a very learned person. Look at these certificates I've got from Donkey University. They say I'm a big donkey. So I'm proud of that. So, and my knowledge is very good. Everything is created by DNA. We've discovered DNA, so now we know that DNA makes everything work. Then next week they discover something else. First they say, there was DNA, and then there's junk DNA. 90% of it is useless. And then a few weeks later they say, well, the junk DNA is not junk actually, it's very useful. And then a few days later they say, no, what we'll do is we'll make a hadron collider and we'll make atoms smash into each other and we'll open dimensions. So this is Maya Pritagyan. They're crazy people, sending billions of dollars. They don't know what they're doing, because their whole basis is that everything is explained by material energy. That is what I can see. And this thing about spirit. Spirit is created, these ideas are created by Maya. But then Kṛṣṇa comes along. He says, no, no, you've got the wrong idea. Yoga-sthaḥ karma. So, therefore, instead of speculating and trying to be a controller in the material world, you should act in yoga, yoga-sthaḥ. And therefore, 7th chapter, Kṛṣṇa starts, knowledge of the Absolute. Also 4th chapter, so much knowledge is there. And this is superior. It is from the superior platform. So therefore, when we hear transcendental knowledge, 4th chapter, when we hear 7th chapter, opulence of the Absolute, when we hear about the universal form, this, because it is superior energy, it is connected to the Absolute Truth directly, rather than the material energy, which is indirect manifestation, so to speak, then this is pleasing. This is satisfying my consciousness. I feel enlightenment. I see the quality of this knowledge as superior. So this is the devotee. He becomes Shraddhavan. He becomes realized directly. And that's you're all experienced devotees. Why are you carrying on day by day? Because you realize there's something to it. There's something to this chanting. I'm chanting, and when I sit down and I offer in yajna my chanting to the Supreme Lord in devotional way, I get some bliss. So it's directly realized. So that is very important. So Kṛṣṇa here, he tells Arjuna to fight. Like I say, Savadharma Prajajya, you should do it. I'm the Supreme Brahman, you're not. He says here, this is very interesting. He gives so much knowledge about, you're not the body, you're a spirit soul. So, okay, now what's the next point? How can you act as spirit soul? Do thou fight for the sake of fighting, without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat. That's very similar to today's verse, right? This is 38. And by so doing, you will never incur sin. Because why? You do your duty, but he's not saying here, you do your duty as an offering to me or to Vishnu. He's saying, just do it equipoised. So first he was saying, you've got to fight, Arjuna, because people will decry your name and you'll become a coward in the history books. Now he's gone a bit step further. He said, okay, now you won't get sin if you act in this equipoised way, free of fruitive desire. If you act equipoised, that means tyag. Tyag means that you do your duty without consideration of achieving and grasping some result for your self-enjoyment. And so you will never incur sin. Thus far I've described knowledge to you through analytical study. That means analytical body and the soul are different. Now listen as I explain in terms of working without fruitive results, which was Arjuna's big fear. If I kill, I'll get a bad fruit. O son of Pritha, when you act in such knowledge, Siddhanta, at the beginning of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it says, Siddhanta Bulya, if you don't gain Siddhanta, then your devotional service will be in confusion. You'll find it hard to advance to transcendence. So your first point is to learn the Dashamula, to learn the basic tenets of Krishna consciousness. Knowledge will set you free. Then on the basis of that level of mukti, you can cultivate your relationship with the Supreme. But first you must get knowledge. So, through analytical, I learned, now listen, when you act in such knowledge, you can free yourself from the bondage of works. You become mukti, mukta. In this endeavor, now he's encouraging Arjuna, there's no loss or diminution. And a little advancement can protect you from the most dangerous type of fear. And so Prabhupada in the purport, he says, if you act in this material world, the most dangerous type of fear is that you may fall into animal species. You may become a pig or a dog or even a worm in the stool. That's the greatest fear. You won't get another chance as a material, human rather. You go into darkness of tamagun in the lower species. So, but if you do this, what I'm telling you, because Krishna is telling him, fight, but he's telling him how to fight, in what consciousness to fight. Those who are on this path, so he's praising the path, resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many-branched. So he's saying, now if you don't follow this path, you'll be in the material world, confused. Men of small knowledge are very attached to the flowery words of the Vedas. So now Krishna is saying, there is bad results, the greatest type of fear, but also there's people that think that I'll do good karma and I'll go to the Swargaloka, which recommend various fruitive activities for elevation to the heavenly planets, resultant good birth, power, so forth. Being desirous of sense gratification and opulent life, they say there is nothing more than this. Let's go to heaven. In the minds of those too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by these things, prakriti sthani kashati, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. So Queen Kunti at the beginning of the Bhagavatam, you all know, you are the property, Kṛṣṇa, of the materially impoverished, right? They're niskinchana, akinchana. They're not saying akinchana. The devotee is not thinking, this all belongs to me, aham mameti, it's not mine, it's mine. He's thinking, this all belongs to Vasudeva. It belongs to Kṛṣṇa, everything I have. Manasadeha, geha, everything I give to you, Vishnu, because of my bhava. But if you have the opposite mood of grasping the material energy, then you'll find it very, very, very hard to become a devotee. So you must give up sense of proprietorship and ownership and endeavor and material aspiration. The Vedas dealing with the three, this is a key verse, the Vedas mainly deal with the subject of three modes of material nature. So the Vedas are talking about this heaven and hell and all that. But Arjuna becomes transcendental to these three modes, be free from all dualities, good and bad, heaven and hell, and free from all anxieties for gain, fruitive result, and safety, and be established in the self. Yoga-sthaḥ, kuru karmāṇi. Why? Because you should be, and you are meant to be, situated as part of the Supreme aeroplane. You are part and parcel of the Supreme. You are not something separate from the Supreme. All purposes, and then Krishna gets poetic here, all purposes served by a small well can at once be served by a great reservoir of water. What does that mean? Similarly, all purposes of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them. So what does Krishna say in the 15th chapter? What is the purpose of the Vedas? Vedanta krit Vedavid eva chaham. I am Vedanta. I am the goal of the Vedas. I am the anta. I am the perfect conclusion of the Vedas. The Vedas are all funneling everyone into the neck of the funnel towards the Supreme Lord. That's why there are Puranas in Tamagun, Rajagun, so on and so forth. You have a right to perform your duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of actions. That means do your duty, Arjuna, but don't be thinking I want the result. Perform your duty for the sake. Do thou fight for the sake of fighting, without considering gain or loss, victory or defeat. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities. Don't think you're the dude. Kuru, what is that? Kartaham iti manyate. Don't think that you are doing everything. Arjuna, you're a subordinate part of the whole show. You're not doing everything, I'm doing everything. Nityo nityanam chaitanas chaitananam eko yoda dadati karmāṇi. I am the Supreme Eternal and I'm giving the results. So, why are you grasping at the results I'm giving? Let them come naturally. You just be concerned of acting in yoga, in devotion. And then we come to today. Perform your duty equipoised, O Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. That was 38. Such equanimity is called yoga. And then the next two, and dhanam-jaya, keep all abominable activities far distant by devotional service. Because you see, if you're going to do devotional service, that means you're offering things to Kṛṣṇa. That means you have to live a regulated life. You can't be a bank robber and offer it to Kṛṣṇa. You can't be a murderer and offer it to Kṛṣṇa. You have to live within the strictures of varnashram, moral life. Kṛṣṇa is going to get later on onto internal bhakti, sarvadam, give up all that varnashram ultimately and just do my bhajan. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padaseva. We discussed this 2 weeks ago, that there's basically two divisions in yoga. And that is, following varnashram, you're following your material propensities as a Kshatriya or a Vaishya or a Brahmin and offering it to Kṛṣṇa. Or you are doing bhajan, direct devotional service. And this is all clear in the conversations of Ramananda Roy and Sanatana Goswami. Ramananda Roy, he says, oh, well, you can follow varnashram. Oh, this is okay, but it's external. Lord Chaitanya says, okay then, yad karosi, yad, well, that's good, now you're getting devoted. And then eventually, Ramananda Roy says, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padaseva, because that's direct. That you're not offering your material, bodily, conditioned activities to Kṛṣṇa, you're directly as an angsa worshipping the supreme Brahman, the supreme person, the param tattvā. Because you're hearing about Kṛṣṇa, you're describing Kṛṣṇa, you're remembering the form of Kṛṣṇa, you're serving Kṛṣṇa, you're installing a deity of Kṛṣṇa, you're chanting mantra to Kṛṣṇa, you're becoming a mood of service to Kṛṣṇa, you're becoming friendly and realized, and then you're surrendering everything to Kṛṣṇa directly. Whereas in varnashram, there's still attachment. Oh, I have a propensity to be a Kshatriya, to be a doctor, to be a teacher. So I'll try to be good at that and offer it. That's good. But it's external to the fact that you are Atma. You are Angsa of the Supreme. So act in that way as an offering and offer the results. Surrender everything. Manasa deha geha. Everything. That is the thing. So like we said at the end of all this discussion in the first 6 chapters, like we said 2 weeks ago, yoginam api sarvesam. Who is the best yogi? Madgatein antaratmana. The best yogi is the one who is absorbed in the self. He's not looking out for dhanam-janam sundarim in this world. He's internally situated as a devotee of the Supreme Lord. And that's his whole ethos. There's another verse there in the Gita. What does he say? Arjuna, I think it's later on. How can we tell who is transcendentally situated? And Kṛṣṇa says, when the person gives up all varieties of sense desire, dhanam-janam sundarim, which arise from mental concoction, and then he finds satisfaction in the self alone. He's satisfied in meditating on thinking of Kṛṣṇa and serving Kṛṣṇa spiritually. Then he is situated in pure transcendental consciousness. So this external world, all this advertising on television, what is it for? It's to pull you out. Take drink, take alcohol, chase women, chase money, try to be fixed as a big man in this world. It's pulling you out from thinking, Kṛṣṇa, I am your bhakta. Gopi bhata kamalayo dasa dasa anudasa. You are the beloved of me, and I am your beloved. Kṛṣṇa is beloved of the gopis, and he's the lover of the gopis. He loves the gopis, and they love him, and that's the real thing. Just like the yogic Brahmins. Oh, we're going to do this big sacrifice. Oh, the cowherd boys came. Oh, please, give us, we're hungry and thirsty. No, sorry, we're worshipping Vishnu. Stand aside. Look at all these brass pots. We've got a nice big yoga. Tell Kṛṣṇa and Balaram to wait. So then they went to the wives, and the wives thought, Kṛṣṇa and Balaram are hungry? Oh, we've got all this prepared for the yajna. Take it quickly. So then, this is the bhakti bhav. Oh, Kṛṣṇa wants something, I'll give it. Never mind the yajna and my husband going, Tad Vishnu Paramam Param. No, I want to satisfy Kṛṣṇa Balaram beyond all rules and regulations. That is bhakti, spontaneous love. And so the Kṛṣṇa loves his devotees. He's ready to lift Govardhan hill. That is Kṛṣṇa. He loves his devotees and they love him. So that we can discuss, we're answer of the Supreme and the Supreme Tattvā. But we should go even beyond that to understand the bhava of the Brijbasis, the love they have. And that is how love is cultivated. We are following in the footsteps of the acharyas, yes. Who are the acharyas? Radharani is the acharya. Nanda Maharaj is the acharya. Sridham is the real acharya. These people, they're displaying the real activity, the pure devotion, spontaneous. Of course, great acharyas come here and they give us rules and regulations and do this and do that, but they are pointing, Lord Chaitanya, 6 Goswami, look at that beautiful spiritual world, where it won't matter to Kṛṣṇa that I am Param Tattvā. No, when Nanda Maharaj says, oh, Kṛṣṇa, where are my shoes? I can't find them. Then Kṛṣṇa puts them on his head and takes him to Nanda Maharaj. So this is the absolute truth that we're part of. He is ready to take the shoes of Nanda Maharaj on his head. He is the plaything of the gopis. He's dancing because of the love of the gopis and because he loves the gopis. So this is the unselfishness of the transcendental world. So we must grasp this. This is prayojan tattvā. And just thinking about this, it frees us from the selfishness of prakriti sthani kashati, chasing things in this material world. We have to become absorbed in the leela of Kṛṣṇa, follow in the footsteps of the residents of Vrindavan, right? This is what we're told, isn't it? Ragatmika bhakti, following the raga, the attachment, the mood of the residents of Vrindavan. So that's why Lord Chaitanya is the most merciful, because that's what he has brought forward out of the Bhagavatam. He's brought that out of the Vedas into the real point. So that's why he's the greatest, most munificent. And how do you develop that? You get a little knowledge like we're discussing now, and then what do you do? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. And this waters our realization. Oh my God, it's so wonderful. That's the spiritual world. Completely unselfish, loving atmosphere of leelas, always going here and there, extending bliss. And then we forget. That is yoga-sthaḥ, kuru karmāṇi. Krishna is leading Arjuna to that. So listen to this. Yes. By devotional service, in that consciousness, surrender unto the Lord. In that, following in the footsteps of those who want to enjoy the fruits of their work of misers. A man engaged in devotional service rids himself of good and bad reactions even in this life. Therefore strive for yoga, which is the art of all work. Right? So, we'll finish at that point. We'll leave that for next week. But this is the point. Yes, Sambandha, we're not this material body. I'm an angsa of the Supreme. Oh yes, Vaidhi Bhakti, Rag Bhakti, Bhava Bhakti. Yes, but Prayojan, the goal, the necessity. So the 10th canto gives us a snapshot. The commentary and the behavior of Lord Chaitanya, they show us how to become bhaktas. And we have that vision of Krishna in Golok. And then we aim for that. We become servant of that vision. So that is sadhana, sadhaka upasana. We worship that spiritual position through worship. Sadhana upasana. We worship. Lord Chaitanya, Lord Brahma says, Govindamadi Purisham Tamam. I'm worshipping. So this is sadhana. I'm worshipping that Supreme Person. I'm chanting, I'm composing this wonderful Sanskrit slokas. This is my offering to the Supreme Lord. I am the upasana. I am the worshipper. So that's what we follow in that. So with that vision in mind, we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Okay, thank you all very much. Any question? It's all clear now, isn't it? Right? Yes?
Thank you so much for the class.
You're welcome.
Very, very nice.
It's your presence. Mukum karoti vachalam. Even crazy people can talk about Krishna.
Curious, I'm still trying to, I'm struggling with the concept. For those that are interested in grihastha.
As grihastas.
Yes.
Well, you should combine with your wife to worship Krishna.
So
Simple as that.
And so then how does one have equanimity towards their wife instead of identifying that it's their wife?
Well, it's in the Bhagavatam. It says that the wife should look at the husband's body as a boat upon which she will cross the ocean of nescience, and vice versa.
And vice versa.
Yeah, and the man should look at the wife because we have appetite for sex, right? It's part of the body. So it should be disciplined. And then if children come by grace of Krishna, then we take care of them and offer them to the Supreme Lord. Not by force, all the terrible things that went on by crazy people, but if devotees, and so their husband and wife, They should be studying Gita together. They should be serving the sadhus, grihasta's job. Supporting temples where real sadhus are, where real renunciants are. And they should combine together in that way to serve the Supreme. There's nothing wrong with marriage. Most of Lord Chaitanya's followers were grihastas. All the Sapta Rishis, they're married, right? A good wife is a great thing. But but she should be dedicated to service of a devoted husband. That is the thing.
Who's not fallen.
Huh?
Who's not fallen.
Well, she should encourage him in his devotional practice. And the husband should be the guru of the family. But that means heavy with knowledge. He should know the Shastra. But I'm not saying it's the case in your case. But if there's a big television there, a big plasma piece of Maya Shakti, and the television is, the television is all those advertisements and philosophies and, they're taking us out of yoga-sthaḥ, kuru, karmāṇi. So that should be understood very scientifically. The husband should be a good realized person. And then they can practice ekaraji, like in Sunday is ekaraji. And then by the wife, by serving a devoted husband, being devoted, then she goes back to Godhead. They become one unit. So they're very supportive. We've seen, well, I don't want to go on too long, in our movement sometimes people take sannyas, and then after a few years they go bananas, right? Right, and have a lot of trouble. No need to detail that. So the thing is, grihasta is a very safe boat.
Because they're falling, because they're artificializing the...
Yeah, because maybe they're taking sannyas at an immature stage, right? If you're going to dance, you should learn to dance before you get on the stage. Don't try to learn to dance on the stage. Learn to dance before you get up on the stage. So become a renunciate before you take renunciation. And renunciation isn't actually dependent on any ashram per se. It is within the mind. Manasa deha ge. Look at Bhakti Vinod Thakur. He had 13 children, right? One of which was, I'm sure they were all great devotees, right? He had 2 wives, and he had troubles with. They especially married a second wife to. I'm not saying simultaneously had 2 wives, I believe, but the second wife had an astrological chart that gave him strength. So Bhakti Vinod Thakur. But then at the end of his life, the last 6 years, he retired. And he spent his time opposite the samadhi of Haridas Thakur. And he had one servant called Kṛṣṇa Das. I read about this. And Kṛṣṇa Das would bring him food, cut his nails, and he was for 6 years in pure samadhi. He was hardly recognizing the external world. He was completely in yoga-sthaḥ, situated in yoga. So Bhakti Vinod is the perfect example. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta himself said, if I could make 100 Krishna-conscious children, I would get married. That is a statement I've read. It sounds amazing, because he's the greatest renunciate and austerity person, He was compared to Raghunath Das Goswami for his renunciation. So renunciation, yoga is very good. But if the yogi, if the sannyasi, I don't want to go on too much, because, if the sannyasi exploits his high position for bhoga, that is a big offense. Of course, Krishna is merciful, spiritual master is merciful. But like I say, before you play the guitar on stage, learn how to tune it at least. You understand? Don't take sannyas because you think, oh, well, I'll get the best room in the ashram. But I don't want to go too far on this, straight on. But this is a fact, you know. Like Lord Chaitanya, he left Vishnu Priya and Sachimata because he ran away. He couldn't, he had to go. He was full of bhava. He's giving the example. So, grihastas. So grihastas are very, very important because they're the main building block of society. If we just, I don't know, maybe, anyway, never mind. If we just have temples with a queen bee and worker bees and sell books, that's okay. But we want to construct a society of devotees. That means grihastas. You know, they're there. You understand? Yes. So the grihastha ashram is very important. Or else Krishna consciousness, it'll be just like petrol stations here and there. You see? You understand? You see my point? So Prabhupada said, yes, varnashram is necessary. I've only done 50%. I want to establish. So they should, all temples should have a grihasta department. And all the grihastas should be engaged and, you know, given a chance, an education in how to be successful spiritually, yoga-sthaḥ, karmāṇi. They shouldn't be, oh, I remember in the old days, oh, he's a grihasta, he's in Maya. Some people said, I never thought that. But
well, the Shastra says that any of the ashramas can, as long as they're controllers of the senses, then they can have disciples. They can be.
yeah. Oh well, actually, in the Vedic system, generally the grihastas are the initiating gurus. If you look at the Shastra, it's all the young boys, the Pandavas and all that. They all spent time in the ashram of the Guru. And the Guru has his Guru Ma, the wife. They're in a family atmosphere. They're not being, you know, anyway, let's not go on about the past. They're in a good atmosphere for children. Children need a loving mother figure. They need a loving father. Generally, the sannyasis are the renunciates. Like the 6 Goswamis, how many of them actually initiated? Raghunath, Lokanath, 1. So usually the sannyasis are the renunciants. And they are traveling and preaching and giving prachar. The grihastas are the initiators and guidance. Why? Because most people, they'll be brahmacharis, then grihastas. So they should stay with a grihasta Vaishnav to learn how to be a grihasta Vaishnav. Do you see the point? You can't learn to be a grihasta Vaishnav from a sannyasi. Huh? He's going to say, no, I don't talk to women, I don't think about women. Do you see that? But the young boy, he learns the taste of devotional service before puberty at the ashram of the Guru. Then he takes marriage and he's already expert in gaining devotional ras before, marriage. And then he can continue in that mood in marriage. That's the proper way. And then he can teach his children and he can become a guru himself. You see? Do you see my point? And so, well, not to labor the point, but Prabhupada had to do everything because he was starting in America where nobody knew anything. So we shouldn't think, oh, but he was a Paramahansa, Mahabhagwat. So he could do that, arrange marriages, do business, but he created the GBC to do that, so he could concentrate on his Brahminical sannyas duties. So, if somebody takes sannyas, great, but they shouldn't be dealing with marriage problems of their disciples. It's Lord Chaitanya didn't want to meet Prataparudra, did he? Because he was dealing with all this kind of stuff. But the Grihastha Vaishnava, he can give guidance like that. He's in a safe situation. He has a wife, so he's not lonely. The sannyasi is not lonely either, because he's situated in realization of the Supreme. Isi Vasudeva Savamiti. So he is completely never alone in the forest, because he's always with the Supreme. So anyway, we'll finish at this point. I think you catch the idea. So Prabhupada wanted this to expand Krishna consciousness just beyond sannyasi and brahmacharis, and you understand my point. And you get that vision if you read Chaitanya Bhagavat, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Maybe you should cut that part. Anyway.